So during lockdown, we binged on pretty much everything from films to TV shows to food to having an overdose of the people you're staying with under the same roof. It can get ugly sometimes, but whatever. What really kept me sane through all of this was watching good films, and I'm a huge fan of watching rom-coms. So I'm sharing some of the films that I rewatched during the lockdown, and basically what I'm implying is that these films can be watched more than once. They're not just a one-time watch. So yeah, I'm going to be sharing some classics and some new films that I've come across that I wish got more hype and more people spoke about it. The first film I'm talking about is Letters to Juliet. I saw this on Netflix and it was a really cute film to watch. I watched it with my sister. The main female protagonist in the film, Sophie, is a fact checker for the New Yorker, and she is going on a pre-honeymoon with her fiance to Italy, Verona. And while she's over there, she comes across this wall where it's a stone wall where a lot of women come and put letters that they want Juliet to receive from Romeo and Juliet. And there is a group of ladies who are called the secretaries of Juliet, and they read the letters and they reply to those ladies and they give them advice or just some type of consolation depending on whatever is written in those letters. Instead of indulging in the romantic atmosphere of Italy, her fiance is more interested in exploring things for the new restaurant that he's going to open in New York. So he keeps ditching her for whatever plans that she had and whatever she wanted to do. So she ends up helping these ladies to write letters. And she finds this letter from 1950s and she thinks of replying to the lady. And she receives the letter and she takes the advice of the girl Sophie. And the next thing you know, the lady who's now a grandmom is there with her grandchild in Italy on a search to find her long-lost lover called Lorenzo. What I really liked about the film was it was really cute. It had really heartwarming moments throughout the film. So in the film, you can see some really scenic routes that they take to find Lorenzo, and the nice, beautiful and really innocent relationship that develops between Sophie and Charlie, Claire's grandson. The next film that I'm talking about is Begin Again. It's a fairly recent film and it basically shows two lost souls bonding over music and how they find themselves again via music. So in this film, the male-female protagonist Greta comes to New York with her partner/lover, Dave. And they both are there in New York, and he is there because he gets a deal with the record label over there. They end up splitting because he is so enticed with the new life that he's living. Things take a turn for the better when Greta is noticed by Dan, who is like a A&R in a big record label company, and things aren't going well for him. He's finding an artist to represent, and he sees her performing at a pub, and he loves whatever she performs, and he wants to represent her and release her music. But she's wary of it at first, but then she finally gives in, and it's a very beautiful story of how they record her music at different locations in New York because they don't have the budget for recording in a studio. Basically shows how music can bring a lot of people together, it can solve a lot of problems, and music can be the solution to a lot of things. Great songs in the film. I mean, Adam Levine's Lost Stars from his album 5 was in the film, and it was beautiful. There's a last scene in the film where he's performing, and every time I see that performance, I get goosebumps. The next film I'm talking about is Life as We Know It. In this film, Holly, she's the female protagonist, and the male protagonist is Eric. They were set up on a blind date, which was a big disaster, and by a couple friend. The couple die in a car crash. So the responsibility of taking care of the couple's daughter, who's just a year old, is left on Eric and Holly because the couple had assigned them as the girl's legal guardians. So the story is basically about how they're trying to adjust to this new life where they have to not only take care of a small child but also deal with the hatred that they have for each other. And though there are a lot of cliches in this film, it's a film that you can definitely watch because it's very heartwarming the way their relationship grows. It's very endearing. The next film I'm talking about is a big classic, and I'm pretty sure everyone has seen this, and if you haven't, you have to go see it right now. This is My Best Friend's Wedding. Julia Roberts is literally a rom-com staple, and this film is actually such a relatable film for a lot of people who are stuck in this triangle where they have a crush on their best friend, but their best friend is in love with someone else, which happens to a lot of people in real life. In this film, Julia Roberts' character is this really workaholic kind of a food critic, and she finds out one fine day out of the blue that her best friend Michael is getting married to a bubbly law student called Kim, and she is like devastated. And that's when she actually realizes, like how in most rom-coms people realize that she's in love with her best friend, and she always has been. She is assigned as the maid of honor by Kimmy, the law student that Michael is marrying. Julia does everything that she can to rip them apart. She shows Michael in different ways how she's not right for him and tries to sabotage their relationship in every possible way. And while this may make her sound like the villain, somehow, for some reason, you end up feeling for her, even though whatever she's doing throughout the film is crazy and she's acting like a mad woman. So watch this film when you're in a mood for a total rom-com classic and want to see Julia Roberts and Cameron Diaz on the same screen. I'm just a girl standing in front of a guy asking him to love her. That iconic line from Notting Hill is super. And though it's so simple, I think the part where the line comes in the film just changes the way you perceive that line. Notting Hill is another classic, and it is one of my favorite films. I've watched it like 100 times. And I think the thing that I like the most about this film is the fact that it's so similar to fan fictions that we read. It's like you're obsessed or like you really like a celebrity, and then you end up bumping into them, and then the celebrity ends up falling in love with you as well, and like they want you to pursue them. That is super cool. I wish that happened in real life, honestly. So I think that's one of the main reasons why I love this rom-com is it makes me feel like all my celebrity crush desires are getting true. Another staple for rom-coms is Hugh Grant, and he's there in the film, and it's amazing to see his character fall for an American celebrity who is played by Julia Roberts, another rom-com staple. There are a lot of moments in the film which show that no matter what, at the end of the day, we are all human beings, and that just because someone is popular or famous, that doesn't mean that they don't have feelings or they can really fall for someone. I mean, it is so charming to see Hugh Grant with his floppy hair, which are constantly falling on his eyes, and his brilliant British accent, and him being super awkward. That is because most of the times you've seen him like being super smooth, but in this film you've seen him being super awkward, which is really fresh to see from Hugh Grant. Next film I'm talking about is Blended. It has Adam Sandler and Drew Barrymore, and you know that whenever there is Adam Sandler in a film, it is bound to be a laughing riot, and that's exactly what this film is. This film is about two people who meet on a blind date again. It was a terrible blind date, and they vow to like never see each other ever again. A hysterical journey begins when Drew Barrymore's character and Adam Sandler's character, they turn up with their respective families at that same African resort. It is very endearing to see how the children end up benefiting a lot from the growing bond between Adam Sandler's character and Drew Barrymore's character. It's a very common trope in rom-coms to see someone hate someone at the beginning and then fall in love, but this is a very different way of showing that there were also families of those respective partners involved in this whole process. So yeah, it was a really funny, cool film, and if you feel like you're stuck at home and you want to see something beyond the four walls of your house, this is the film to watch, because it feels like you're transported to another country, which you are, because it's shot in Africa. The next film after this is He's Just Not That Into You. It's another film that I really like, and I've seen it like a bunch of times, not because I needed it, but whatever. The main character in this film is Gigi, and she is obsessed with finding true love. And I mean, just finding somebody, actually, not just true love, but finding somebody. And she doesn't want to be single. And there are other characters as well in the film, but it basically keeps coming back to Gigi and her story. And in this story, she keeps misreading the signs from the men that she is seeing, and she befriends a bar owner that is played by Alex Long, and he keeps telling her where all she's going wrong. And in this whole time where he's giving her advice and trying to be friends with her, she mistakes that too as a sign that he is into her. There are other couples as well in the film who themselves are dealing with their own problems in their own love lives. Some have like easier problems, some have more difficult problems. somewhere on the brink of breaking up and getting a divorce. It's a really good film, specifically if you don't know what you're doing with men around you and you don't know how to read the signs. It's based on a self-help book, so yeah, it might just help you. Watch it. The next film I'm going to be talking about is a classic again, is Bridget Jones' Diary. It's about Bridget, who is fed up of the life that she's living, and she is literally in she's fed up of being single, she's fed up of being in her 30s and her mom trying to set her up with people. She's fed up of her weight and just a mess. Her life is a mess and she hates it. So when the new year is rolling in, she decides to keep a diary throughout the whole year and promises to be very true to everything that's happening in her life. And she's in this love triangle with Colin Firth's character and Hugh Grant's character, which in my opinion is a heavenly love triangle. It's a dreamy love triangle to have both of them romance you. So in this film, Hugh Grant is playing this really cocky, crass, asshole kind of a man, and Colin Firth is this really nice, sweet guy, but he's also kind of aloof and not into you towards Bridget. And the weird thing about this film is that you will end up shipping her with both the characters when she's with both of them. When she's with Hugh, you'll be rooting for them. When she's with Colin, you'll be hey, you go. So it's like that. A few more rom-coms that I rewatched in this year that I want to quickly mention before I finish this video. Love Actually, Valentine's Day, 10 Things I Hate About You, Made in Manhattan, 2 Weeks Notice, 13 Going on 30, The Ugly Truth, and The Proposal. Thanks for watching the video, and if you have any suggestions that you want me to check out, you can drop them down below in the comment section and I'll be sure to check them out. Bye!